I want to ask you one question which having the two parameters. As you say, you are calling us all of the youth to join a Congress, youth Congress. What is going to be the selection criteria for all the candidates? Maybe you have some parameters.
Yeah.
Like before whenever you apply for any job within our education qualification, as you said, poor people don't have education but they have skills. So what kind of skills? Past performance, their experience. And second thing, what we have discussed before your arrival, that the performance evaluation. So how we are going to evaluate the candidates on their performance?
I'll tell you. Do you have another question?
No, but...
Do you want me to answer in English or in Hindi?
Any of which people understand. But one more thing that I would like to ask you, that I have one beautiful painting that I would like to give you.
Okay. I'll take it after the function. I'll come down and take it from you. But I'll explain to you what the idea is and how we are measuring performance and how we are looking at our candidates. First of all, the candidate selection, Angrezi sabko aati hai? Overall. The candidate selection process, there are 2 or 3 criteria. The first criteria is that you cannot be a criminal. You cannot be a fundamentalist, meaning, as somebody earlier said, you cannot be somebody who does not like people of a particular religion or a particular caste, or who divides Indian society in that manner. As long as you fulfill those 2 criteria, you can be a member of the Youth Congress and you have the right to fight a Youth Congress election. The first step is winning that election. So the first test of capability, so to speak, is the ability to win the election. Now in our system, one person doesn't win the election. We have a committee of 8 people. So the top 3-4 performers automatically go into that committee. So what we are doing is we are finding in each Vidhan Sabha, each Lok Sabha, each state, the top 8 or 10 people. Okay, so it's not that if one person wins the election, everybody else has no work to do. So that's the first point. Second point is, once we have candidates who have won the election, we will give them a particular set of training. What type of training? What does it mean to be a public representative? What are the type of issues that are important? How do you raise issues? What is the difference between local issues and national issues? So, general training on what it means to become a public representative. For example, even myself over the last 5 years, I've learned a lot about what it means to be an MP. A new MP doesn't normally have that training. Right? So, that type of training. What does it mean? What does it mean to represent someone? What are the responsibilities you have? What can you do? What can't you do? So this type of training. And then the performance measurement part is on how that person is basically on 3 things. One, how close is that person to the common man? So we have criteria. Does this person sit in his house and drive a fancy car and is never seen by the public? Or does he spend a lot of time in the public? How does he raise issues? Does he raise issues that are interesting only for himself? Or does he raise issues that are interesting for the common man or poor people or the people he represents? So we are making a number of criteria on which we can easily measure the person. How much time does he spend with the people he represents? What is the performance of the party in his polling booth? So you can be a very big leader, but if you can't win a single polling booth, then what's the point? What we're essentially trying to do is we're trying to bring, you're professionals so you understand it, we're trying to bring measurement into political leadership. Today there's no measurement in political leadership. Nobody asks you, oh, how did you get the crowd there? Maybe you threatened the crowd and brought them there. So we're trying to define some criteria and trying to do that. I fundamentally believe that there are basically 3 things that political leadership requires. One is you need support of people. So you can't be a leader if you do not have support of people. How do we test that? We test that through democratic elections which are fair. The second is you have to understand issues. So you can have support, but if you don't understand, for example, the issues of education, then you can hardly be a politician who deals with education. So that is the second thing, that what is this person's understanding of what he's doing. Now the general idea is that, oh, you know, poor people or village people don't have that type of understanding. This is not true. Being educated, in my view, is a particular skill. There are village people who are as intelligent as all of us, but unfortunately they have not had the opportunity to be educated. So I don't believe in barring people because they are not educated. Right? So those are the pillars of the system that we are building. We want a person to understand what the type of issues he's dealing with. We want a person to have public support, and we want to be able to measure him to see if actually he's linked up with the people or not. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Thank you.
Congratulate you, because I'm very happy to see this effort of trying to professionalize politics, which hasn't happened so far. And I have two questions regarding this. One is that how do you ensure that the monitoring mechanism and the election commission in this case is unbiased and independent? Secondly, we have seen elections that happen in campuses all over the country, where youth actually come from colleges where they are elected to power. But at the same time, what most of these parties, so to say NSUI or ABVP or SFI in Delhi, whatever we have seen, they are only busy doing either dharnas or closing down colleges on some occasion or the other. They actually do not work on campus reforms. So in this case, how do you ensure that these people who are elected are going to ensure that something does happen? Thank you.
The first, let me answer the second question. See, the reason organizations that you mentioned carry out dharnas is because their membership is limited. You don't have, even though they are supposedly open organizations, the path to entry into the NSUI. If you were all members of NSUI, would you be doing dharnas?